Hello aspirants, this is Zahir and I welcome you back to SSBCrack exams. In this lecture, we shall be discussing the GK 100 days study plan for your upcoming AFCAT 2022 examination. So let us begin without any further ado. As you all know that 100 days are more than enough, easily 3 months are available, so you can बड़े इत्मीनान से patience के साथ you can prepare and you can crack this exam. So let me tell you that the GK section features you around 25 MCQs, that is 75 marks, because for every correct answer you get 3 marks and for every incorrect answer you mark 1 mark is deducted, that is -1, and if you leave the question unattempted there are no penalties that are imposed upon you. So because the syllabus is really vast and huge as far as GK section is concerned, so let us divide and conquer the syllabus. So first of all, there are two important components which you have to understand in your entire GK syllabus. One is a static GK related part and the second is humanities related subjects. So humanities related subjects are no doubt, as you all know, geography, history and Indian polity. These three are the standard one, and static GK related questions know your armed forces, Indian and world panorama, awards and honors, writing of influences, sports and games and current affairs are the important one. So each and every subject we shall be discussing in detail, analyzing them, and we shall try to understand what kind of topics can be asked. So if you look at armed forces specific, on an average every year you can find 1 or 2 questions coming from this section. So even in the recent examination of AFCAT 1 2022, there was 1 question asked from this section. So expecting around 2 to 3 questions this attempt we can say, or at least 1 or 2 questions can come which can easily fetch you somewhere around 4 to 6 or 6 to 9 marks. So every day 2.5 hours are more than enough to prepare for this subject, because you also have other subjects which you have to concentrate. So on the day 1, what you got to do, rank structure in all services, commands of Indian Navy, and day 2, commands of Indian Army and Indian Air Force should be covered. Day 3, military institutions and their establishment. Day 4, Indian Air Force, their aircraft, their specialities, types and technicalities are important one. Day 5, you are dealing with military deals, exercises and procurements. Day 6, various regiments of Indian Army. Day 7 and 8, famous squadrons of Indian Air Force and the Indian naval warship details will be enough, and this will suffice your know your armed forces subject. So what you have to remember, the topic to focus on are actually rank structure, that is equivalent ranks in price services, and especially what are all the recent military exercises that have been concluded, might be in Army, Navy or Air Force. Those are very important one, and the rest all are for your references. The more base you have, the more easily it will be. If at all the paper comes difficult, you can tackle them easily. So next most important aspect of our syllabus is Indian GK Panorama. Easily 2 to 3 questions come every year. You can find it even in the recent AFCAT 1 2022. 2 questions were asked from this section. So going through that trends, we can expect somewhere around 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 questions from this section, which can easily fetch you somewhere around 9 to 12 marks or at least 6 to 9 marks. So what are all the things which you have to read here? 2.5 hours per day is more than enough. So day 9, national symbols of India. Day 10, superlatives of India, that is largest, highest, etc. You know, the largest river or the highest peak in India, etc. Day 11, Indian space journey or any recent space programs which ISRO or Department of Space has undertaken. Day 12, important art forms and culture, important one. Direct questions are being asked from this section. Day 13, national institutions. Day 14, important national days of recognition. Day 15, important personalities would suffice your preparation for Indian panorama. Important personalities, make sure as far as Indian or Indians are concerned. So you can get an updated content of this portion either from SSBCrack exams book or from the SSBCrack exams AFCAT online course 2022-23, which is already available. So the content itself is bread and butter. The more content you have, that will be easily available for you. The better is your preparation. So make sure that the topics to focus on are art forms, national days, eminent personalities, that which you can never take for granted. Next section comes the most important one apart from the sports section is World GK Panorama, because consistently 4 to 5 questions are being asked from this section, and since last couple of years continuously 3 to 4 questions are are being asked from this section. So what are all the things which you have to remember? So going through the trends, even this time you can expect easily 3 to 4 questions coming from this section, which can easily fetch you around 9 to 12 marks. So daily 2.5 hours will be more than enough. Day 16, the most important one, countries, capital, currencies and language. The most important one, because the direct questions are being asked from this section itself. Day 17, superlatives of the world, that is highest, largest, which we have discussed. International boundaries and their names. Day 18, important cities and their strategic locations, if at all they are in the newspaper. So day 19, international days which we celebrate. Day 20, world space and defense programs. Day 21, international organizations and their headquarters. And day 22, important economic meetings and summits that have happened. So make sure that you are regularly following daily current affairs, because you have to correlate your subject with that and prepare. It is only then when it is really easy, and make sure that countries, capitals and currencies is something which you don't take for granted at all. So next comes awards and honors. So here also going through the trend, every year at least one question is being asked. If I can give you the example, in the recent 2022 AFCAT 1 paper, there was a direct question that was asked. Nobel Prize for Literature was given to whom for 2021. The correct answer was Abdul Razak Gurna. So directly questions can be asked from awards and honors. So expecting or going through the trends, at least 2 or 3 questions, if not at least one question, can be asked for damn sure from this section. So day 23 Bharat Ratna Nobel Prize, day 24 Military Gallantry Awards, movie related awards and awards related to books and literature would suffice. Make sure that you are sticking on to the topics, and whenever you are preparing, make sure that you are writing down the notes on 5 different types of personalities for any award. Consider Bharat Ratna. Make sure that first awardee, who was the first awardee of Bharat Ratna, or let us take example of a Nobel Prize. So first award of Nobel Peace Prize was given to whom? First Indian to receive it, last or the recent one who was the one to get Nobel Peace Prize, and the latest Indian awardee to get, or any other significant awardees to that award would be important one. Moving ahead, writing of influencers have also gained prominence since last few years. Consistently 2 or 3 questions, or at least 2 questions, are regularly asked from this section, and even in the past, in the last AFCAT 1 2022 examination, 2 questions were asked from this writing of influencers. So at least 2 to 3 MCQs can be expected, where 6 to 9 marks can be easily fetched. So there are 3 important categories where you have to concentrate. Day 25 famous books or works by historical Indians, day 26 famous books or works by historical foreigners, day 27 famous news agencies and their editors or heads will be important. 3 hours of intensive readings which are necessary, and whenever you make down notes, make sure that 5 different types of books written by personalities are written down in your notes. That is 5 books written by freedom fighters, books written by famous Indian writers, books that are significant translations to originals, books written by on peculiar and non-peculiar issues, and biographies and autobiographies from the ancient times to the modern times. And finally, the most important part in your static GK section is your sports and games. So every year at least 4 or 5 questions come from this. You can see even in the recent AFCAT 1 2022 examination, 4 questions were asked, and the trend has been consistently maintained. So going through that, no doubt 5 to 6 questions, or at least 4 to 5 questions can compulsorily surely come from this section, which can easily fetch you around 15 to 18 marks. So what are all the things which you have to concentrate? Day 28, concentrate on Olympics and Asian Games. Day 29, Commonwealth Games and Grand Slams and related issues. Day 30, various terms and various terminologies used in sports while playing, important one. Direct questions are coming from this section only, so special emphasis has to be kept on this. And day 31, notable persons of importance, everything related to cricket terms and terminologies. And day 32, you shall suffice the entire preparation with everything related to hockey, tennis, and if at all any other sports that has been recently in the news. So make sure that when you are preparing notes for this, make sure that you are asking few questions with yourself. That is, how many players are there in that entire game, and each team consists of how many players, how big the court or ground on which the game is played, what is the instrument of play which they use, what is foul, or are there any other terminologies other than foul which they use, who are special sports personalities or greatest personalities associated with that sport, is that sport a national sport of any other country or nation. So moving towards the humanities subjects, the first important one is no doubt geography. Consistently 3 to 2 questions can be expected from this part, and he has been asking consistently also 3 to 2 questions are being asked from this section. So expecting that at least 3 to 4 questions can be asked, and easily that can fetch you somewhere around 9 to 12 or many a times 12 to 15 marks can also be asked from this section. So a day-wise study plan for geography, 2.5 hours per day will be more than enough. Day 33 and 34, you shall be covering the basics, the physical features study, the Himalayas, the Great Gangetic Plains, the Peninsular Plateau, deserts and islands. Name and information related to all states and coastal plains will suffice. Day 35 and 36, all rivers and their tributaries. Day 37 and 38, hydropower, thermal and nuclear power projects in India. Day 39 and 40, major ocean currents of the world and their locations are also important. Day 41 and 42, biodiversity hotspots of our country, UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Day 43 to 44, major environmental and industrial summits and events that have happened. You can correlate them with studying daily current affairs also. So make sure that you are not touching anything more than this. Stick on to the topics that have been given in the study plans, because reading more than that, I would surely say you that you are wasting your time. So AFCAT is actually crisp and simple one. So make sure that you are concentrating on the conceptual knowledge and the terms which are used there. And history, the most important part in your entire humanities syllabus of your subject, no doubt, because easily 5, 6, 7, you can see here even 8 questions are asked from this section, and even in the recent attempt AFCAT 1 2022, 4 questions have come directly from this section itself. So going through the trend, easily 18 to 20 marks can be fetched from this section alone, where you can expect 5 to 6 questions or 6 to 7 questions coming from this section alone. So what are all the things? I would say you start from the ancient, that is 2.5 hours per day, day 45 to 47. Make sure that you are wrapping up Indus Valley Civilization, Vedic Society, Mauryan Empire and Sangam literature. Day 48 to 50, you are dealing with indigenous dynasties and Gupta period. Day 51 to 53, the Delhi Sultanate and Vijayanagara Empire. Through this, you will be entering the medieval phase. Day 55 to 56, Mughal Empire, Carnatic Wars, Anglo-Maratha Wars and Anglo-Sikh War would suffice. And day 57 to 59, stages of colonialism and the revolt of 1857, where you enter the modern India. So day 62 to 62, modern and extremist, that is INC phases, economic nationalism, Swadeshi movement, partition of Bengal. Day and the same phase you will be covering also human home rule movement also. And day 63 to 65, Khilafat and non-cooperation movement, civil disobedience movement and quit India movement. And day 66-67, Subhash Chandra Bose and INA related issues, topics, rise of Muslim League, partition of India and independence. And finally, you will be wrapping up the entire history with day 68 to 70, wars with Pakistan, India and United Nations Organization. And history, the things to remember while you prepare, that make sure that whenever you are writing down the dates and events, make sure that your your preparation looks perfect as far as history portion is concerned. When you ask what are the wars, when were they fought, between whom and why, different dynasties, their establishment, who were their establishers, sorry for that, who were their establishers and the timeline of the king, literature during different period, modern history, specifically British officials during Indian crisis. He can ask you that who was the Governor General of India when revolt of 1857 broke out. He can also ask you, Wood's dispatch, that came in 1854, who was the Governor General at that point of time, and special mention, notes and anecdotes, if at all, you can also note it down. And finally, the polity section, you can see the most least important aspect as far as humanities subjects are concerned, but still direct questions are being asked. At least 1 or 2 questions can be expected from this entire section, which can easily fetch you somewhere around 4 to 6 or 6 to 9 marks. So here also make sure that you are sticking on to subject, you are not reading anything additional or new. For day 71 to 73, per day 2.5 hours are more than enough. Constituent Assembly, Union Territories, Union and its territories, citizenship, day 74 to 77, fundamental rights, directive principles of state policies and fundamental duties. This is all the most important aspects which are directly questions coming from day 78 to 80, amending constitution, basic structure of constitution and union executive, day 81 to 83, parliament, judiciary and state government, day 84 to 86, union territories and special areas, emergency provisions, center state relations, and finally day 87 to 89, again important one, constitutional bodies. You need not mug up each and every article that is available. Make sure that you are well aware of the articles, well aware of the conceptual clarity of the articles that relate to fundamental rights, fundamental duties, directive principles of state policy, union executive and legislature, constitutional bodies, judiciary structure, etc. That will be more than enough. So these are short topics which your focus should never flicker. Day 91 to 95, make sure you are allocating for AFCAT mock test by SSBCrack exams with all seriousness, because by this point of time you are full-fledged aware of what you have read and what your exam is going to be. And day 96 to 100, what you have to do is you have to do nothing additional reading, but completely going through all of the notes which you have written and PDFs available before the examination. No additional reading, remember, at all. So the last 10 days have to be kept for nothing but practice and revision only. And even while you give mock test and revision, make sure that the more and more mock tests you do, the more and more you are prepared for the examination. So these mock tests have been scientifically cross-checked and analyzed and detailed and arranged as per the latest examination pattern only. So these notes are the most important one, and these will be the primary guiding documents in ensuring your success. So if I can sum up something again, finally what I can say, that 100 days are more than enough to crack this examination. You still have 3 months of the time, so I strongly suggest that you stick on to this plan. Always make a notes, for all the static GK books, static GK subjects, you are keeping separate notes or separate books for them, making mind maps, graphs, pie charts, diagrams, etc. wherever they are necessary. Go through sample practice question and answers, previous year question and answers, important one, because many a times questions are repeated in your previous year from your previous year question question and answers. Practice more and more MCQs and attempt as many mock test series as available. So if at all any doubt, any ambiguity or any clarification and conclusion you want, you can always reach out to us at support@ssbcrackexams.com. So I wish each and every one of you all the best for your upcoming AFCAT 2 2022 examination. I wish and I pray that you all come out with the flying colors. Thank you for watching my lecture. Jai Hind.